Joining me once again on Comic Book Central to celebrate 40 years. I can't believe it. It's been that long. The greatest American hero is the star of the show, the one and only William Katt. William, welcome back to Comic Book Central.
Hey, great to see you again, Joe. I'm
Great to
happy to
see
be
you.
here.
I'm glad. I guess this COVID world, we could do the video thing now. That's cool. I miss conventions. I miss seeing you and everybody else in person. I want to catch up with you. It's been a little while since we caught up. It was used to be Connecticut Comic Con. Now it's Terrific Con. Boy, this would have been the perfect year, 40th anniversary of Greatest American Hero, but let's hope it gets back
Yeah.
to normal. How are you doing? You look like your music, you're taking care of your music. You look like you're doing well in quarantine
Yeah,
here.
yeah. I've always been a hacker. I've been, went to school for music theory in college. I never really practiced it to make any money at it, but it's always been a passion of mine. It's what I do instead of doing crossword puzzles.
I think we're doing jigsaw puzzles. We're doing crossword puzzles. I know
Yeah.
one thing I'm doing is I'm binge watching The Greatest American Hero, and I know that I don't know if you've ever done this with show. Like, what was your favorite show as a kid? Like when you were growing up, like what was your go-to show growing up?
Oh my gosh. When I was
Lone
really
Ranger?
young, what did I used to watch? Like Twilight Zone, of course, that was a staple in my world,
Okay.
and Outer Limits. I love those kind of shows. I watched before that probably Paladin and Route 66, and those were all the shows that I watched in the 50s. Growing up in the later part of the 50s. I wasn't really watching much before I was 7 or 8 years old. Before that, it was like Mighty Mouse and that kind of stuff.
Have you
But
gone back, like, because sometimes I'll do this, like with Greatest American Hero, I'm doing that now. I'm going back. It's been a while since I've seen some of these. I'll watch an episode every now and again to get caught up with somebody who was in an episode. Joseph Culp was on the show. I watched, the one his dad wrote and directed. Um, but have you gone back to watch a show and then it's like, oh, I remember this a lot differently. Maybe it didn't hold up.
have I gone back to watch a show? No, I've gone back to watch some movies.
Yeah.
Lawrence of Arabia and The Getaway with McQueen and things like that. Ali McGraw, but
Do they
not
hold
a lot
up?
of TV. I end up watching. Lately I've been watching. I like to revisit just for a hoot and a holler, like Gunsmoke or Petticoat Junction, or
Oh,
I love to watch Ron Howard when he was a kid on the
okay.
Andy Griffith show.
Yeah. Didn't you
Jesus.
just do a flick with his brothers?
Yeah, yeah. Clint and I have been friends for many years.
Yeah.
So, we've done two or three things together. I love Clint. He's a great guy and a wonderful actor. Um, yeah, we did something called for another friend of mine, Josh Tessier, who's a wonderful up and coming director. We did a limited series called Rick's Parking, and Clint played this over the top character, which he does very well. Uh,
Shocking.
Played like a boss hog type of
Playing
type
against type.
of character. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he was just wonderful. And actually, we shot it before his dad passed away, so his dad was in it for a couple of days too. That was a
Wow.
lot of fun.
That's fantastic there. So no, that's amazing too. And I know you're doing we mentioned obviously not in-person conventions. We don't know when we'll get back to that, but I think you've done some virtual cons or some virtual Q&As. So
I,
that's out there, right? Is it
yeah,
fullempirepromotions.com?
yeah, with Dominic Mancini. Yeah, he
Yeah.
has a full empire. Yeah, that he does. He's got a lot of great clients, and
Okay.
I'm always happy to help him out when he does something. But thank God for Zoom and Skype and these other programs because they've really not only has it changed the entire uh, culture. I think we've all changed because of it, and I think to a large degree, it's been wonderful. But it's kept us all in touch with our friends when we haven't been able to see them in person. And
Yeah.
I would rather have that than not be able to. This happened 20 years ago, we couldn't have even seen any of our friends. You
Right.
know.
That would have been tricky. And I've said many times on this show too, I think I've been preparing for this my whole life. I kind of like am okay with staying home and binge watching TV right now.
Yeah.
It almost like forced us to just slow down and just take it
Slow down.
easy. I don't got to run 16,000 directions, so but we'll get back
It's
to that.
but it's a great time to really slow down,
Yes.
and I think it's been good in that respect.
I like that as well. Look, we're going to be commenting on one of my favorite episodes of The Greatest American Hero. You know, this is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. It's called My Heroes Have Always Been Cowboys. I appreciate you allowing me to select this episode. I know you've got a couple of other favorites. We talked about that on the show before, but this one's near and dear to my heart. Ralph meets the Lone Ranger. Look, does it get any better than that? No, it does not get any better than that. Episode was
Yeah.
written by the late, great Stephen J. Cannell, the show's creator and executive producer. He is dearly missed. Before we get to the commentary, though, you and I last spoke, I think it was 2014. I want to catch up on a couple of cool super projects that you did, and then we'll get to the commentary. Those being
Okay.
Supergirl and The Thundermans.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
The
let's
thought.
start with Supergirl. Let's start with.
Oh, well, Supergirl. I now they just called me and they asked me if I'd like to come up and be a part of it. I think, if memory serves me, it was the first big crossover show that they did on the channel,
Yeah.
where it was Supergirl and the Arrow and a couple other things, and they were bringing them all in together over a marriage, and they wanted me to preside as the reverend or the preacher over this. So they flew
Well,
me
but
up.
before we go back, let me stop you. When
Yeah,
the call comes in from your agent, I'm guessing.
yeah.
Did you know, like, did you watch any of these shows? Like, you know who the Flash is, you know who Supergirl, like, but were you aware of like the Arrowverse and like how
No,
big this was? Okay, that's fine.
no, I wasn't.
Go ahead.
I wasn't. But I was pleasantly surprised. It had been on the air several years
Yes.
by the time that they had called me, and I said, "Gee whiz!" There'd been a lot of other guests on the show that had a relationship or a history in that kind of comic book world, and I said, "Well, better late than never," so they called me, and I was very, very pleased. As it turns out, the only reason they called me because the director, who I'm remiss because it escapes my memory. I don't know, I can't remember his name, but an Asian gentleman, wonderful director, and he was a fan of mine from The Hero, from Greatest American Hero. So he's the one that asked me to come up and do the show, and it was great fun, and the entire cast was so lovely to me.
That's what I wanted to ask you about. Did you get that pretty much the entire Arrowverse was on set that day? Like all the stars.
No, I didn't get it. I didn't get it.
There's Stephen Amell, there's Grant Gustin, like they're all there,
Yeah,
and
no.
you're center stage. Grace, okay, now that said, for those who haven't seen the episode, spoiler alert, you kind of get vaporized by some heat vision. Sorry about that. We're gonna
Yeah,
go back to.
I was there for a day. They vaporized me. I was,
Yeah. Were you there
you
for the
know,
fight? Because there's a big battle that takes place. Were you there for any of the fighting?
no.
Okay, so quick in and out. That's cool. We love your scene. I remember on Heroes, you were on a guest star on a role in Heroes. That
Yes.
you got frozen and pulverized. That is it in your contract that when you make these cameo appearances on superhero shows that you have to be vaporized or frozen and smashed to
Yes.
pulverize them
It's
immediately?
in it's in my contract that I have to be placed on. Typically, these shows have a wall of shame, and I get to be put on a wall of shame right away.
Yes. Okay. One where you fared a little bit better was the Thundermans. You
Yes.
play Pop Pop, but I guess it's what is it? The Sergeant Thunder,
I forget what it was.
I
Again, it was
think.
a
But you're in the suit. You got the spandex. You got the cape. Look, I know how we know how you felt back 40 years ago. We see it in the pilot episode. That's for real. But you put the spandex on again. Were you
well, it was yeah, well, yeah, but it was a different color. It was blue, right?
very flattering?
Their suits are blue, and we were all wearing them. because
Yes.
it was like, it was like it was like the Incredibles, So it
Yes.
was a family of superheroes. Most of the time, they're in ordinary garb, street garb. But the kids, when they go and do their deeds, they transform and they have their super suits on. So that was my deal, and I was the grandfather. And it was great. Again, my dear friend Josh Tessier was the stunt coordinator on the show, and he was the one that arranged for me to come in and do it. I really had a ball doing it. I had
Did
no idea that doing those shows. I think was it Nickelodeon or was it
Nickelodeon? Yep.
Nickelodeon? There is a real skill to doing that type of comedy. I remember with the director the second or third day, I said, I said, am I doing okay? And the director said, Bill, he said, when you think that you're too big, go bigger.
It's like Broadway.
Yeah, and I said, "Oh, okay, I get this. I can
Yeah.
do that."
Had you ever, I'm trying to think, I'm going back through the Rolodex here in my brain. Had you ever done multicam sitcom before?
Many years ago, one of the most fun things I ever did, I did a show called Good Sports, and I had an overarching a 4 episode playing the former husband of Farrah Fawcett, and it was a show that
Good
she
gig.
did. She did with Ryan O'Neal, her former husband,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so it was the two of them, and they were playing. Were they playing husband and wife? He was a sportscaster, and she was the wife. And my favorite story from that, there was a couple, but one of my favorite is that I played this guy who was just a maniac. He would turn on a dime. He was very mild mannered and nice, and then a second later he'd be this raging lunatic, screaming and yelling. And so that was the fun character. I had a ball doing that. But this one day I got to kiss Farrah. And Ryan went to the other side of the screen. And when I got to kiss Farrah, a dream come true, I hear from the other side of the stage, about 100, maybe 100, 200 feet away, I hear this, oh, like that. It was
So
so much fun.
superhero, and you got to kiss Farrah Fawcett. Like it's good to be you. It's
It
it,
was good to be
it ain't
me.
bad to be William Katt. It ain't bad to be William Katt.
It was pretty good.
So that was fun to watch you suit up in that show. Aaron Gray, my goodness, you got to opposite Aaron Gray too. I mean, come on,
Aaron,
you talk
yeah,
about.
Aaron, yeah.
I think didn't you do a Perry Mason with her?
I did a Perry Mason with her, and I did another. Yes, I did. It was a Perry Mason that we did together.
Yeah.
We were almost we were almost killed together. We got too close to a big explosion, and the explosion was bigger than they thought it was going to be, and it almost consumed us. Aaron will tell you that story.
Okay, that's yeah. Back in the day, they would do things a little
That was
differently. I
back in the
know.
day.
I know. On the Flash TV series, they would blow stuff up all the
Yeah.
time. So like for real. So well, that's pretty cool. I'm glad we got to catch up with you on those. We're going to be doing a commentary today. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, yeah. I think if it works, I'm not technically all that savvy, but
I think if you can play the DVD, I think we're probably golden. Look, as I mentioned, this is a real treat for us fans on the 40th anniversary. So again, happy 40th anniversary for the greatest American hero. Look, I'm going to be honest. I mentioned I've been binge watching these things. This is one of the shows that when I go back, I'm like, okay, is this going to hold up? I, I'll be honest. I think it's holding up much better than I thought. I think it's holding up better now than even back in the day.
really,
Yeah.
they tried to do a reboot of it just a couple of years ago, and it
Yeah.
and it
I
failed.
talked to Dennis Madalone about that.
Oh, you did. I
Yes.
mean, no one ever saw it. I wanted to see it.
What do you know about that? Like was this because I know a little while ago they were trying to do Cannell was trying to do a movie with Owen Wilson and and then he was like I think was this your script? I think Dennis told us about the script where Bill Maxwell was in he was in he's in the crazy ward and
I had written something, and I
okay.
presented it to Stephen as a movie of the week. But I did not know at the time that Steve was already in the works of developing his own a film.
Okay.
Uh, with writers at Disney at the time. It's funny because it's come full circle because Steven had two scripts. He never came to terms with Disney, the execs. He bought the project back. He took it over, and I think he sold it to 20th Century Fox, and they made the pilot. And I think his daughter Tanya was somehow involved, who's a great producer, director in her own right. And it didn't go for some reason. And our friend, probably, George Wendt from Cheers. George was
your house buddy, right?
Yeah, he was my house buddy. We did the film House together. But he said it was a very cute film pilot, and he said he didn't understand why it didn't go. The funny thing is, I wasn't invited to the pilot, but he said he had 5 subsequent scripts that were already written that I was in every one of them. So it would have been
as Ralph.
I think as Ralph, probably, just somebody who appears periodically. It was no homage to the last show.
Because back in the day, and we see it on the DVD sets, there was The Greatest American Heroine, and they tried to get that going with Culp, and that, Ralph hands off the suit because he got too big for his britches. And so this was with another female lead, though, right?
Yeah, and I'm so sorry, I can't remember the young actress's name.
I've drawn a blank on as well.
She's from an Indian actress, East Indian actress. Very
the new one?
Yeah. She had a wonderful following. Very funny gal, very comedic, great comedic timing. Okay. And for some reason, it didn't work, and I don't know why.
All right. Well, we'll see.
Anyway,
hopefully, I like that it's still out there. Hopefully, we can do this. I think this holds up too because not only Cannell behind it because he was a genius. But the chemistry between the 3 leads, that's jumping off the screen in every episode. We'll talk about that as we go through. Again, one of my favorite episodes because it deals with heroes and what makes a hero. And I think Cannell hit the nail on the head on this one. And we get to find it's more of a character study. It's less aliens and little green guys and super suits and effects. And it's more of a character study with why does Culp do what, or why does Maxwell do what he does? Why does Hinkley do what why is Ralph so serious about this,
It was interesting because when we started the show, it was more character studies, which Steve promised me that it would be. It was character studies. And then as the show progressed, the network wanted us to do more and more of what they're doing nowadays, which is fighting aliens from another world,
Yeah, and we saw that, I think, as it played out. A little more green guys and special effects and bigger, like, stunts and things. But maybe that's why I sort of have a soft spot for this episode, because it really is like you guys in a room talking, which is pretty cool. And almost a stunt reel for Dennis Danger Madalone, because the first 5 minutes is all Dennis crashing. I've watched this recently. So, and the cool thing is you get to fanboy out, or Ralph does, with the Lone Ranger. We get to fanboy out and fangirl out with you. So we're flipping the script here. It's going to be interesting to watch this particular episode with you. Are you good to do this?
I think I am. Yeah.
What I have right now is I've got my season 1 DVD. It's disc 2. The episode is My Heroes Have Always Been Cowboys. And so you get to the main menu.
Okay.
And
here,
we see
let me pop it in, Joe.
Yeah, we see, just so I can describe it for the listeners, and then that, so put your DVD in. It's going to bring this up. We hear the theme song. We got The Greatest American Hero. We got the episode titles there. Third one down is My Heroes Have Always Been Cowboys. So you highlight that and you click on that, and that's going to bring up, hopefully another menu where we got the suitcase. So highlight play episode, but don't click play episode yet. Just sort of scroll down to that, highlight it, make it red. So we'll have play episodes, make it red, and then I'll do a 3, 2, 1, and play. And when I say on the word play, we'll all at home, William, myself, we'll all click that play episode. So as long as it's highlighted red, we're good to go, and then I'll give a 3, 2, 1. So William, you tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, so we'll give a 3, 2, 1, and play.
Okay.
And mine is launching. I got a spaceship.
I got that.
Guys.
Yep.
Looks good.
Spaceship was great. We shot this at Vasquez Rocks. We did that, and all the spaceship was added in post. So we were looking up at a black sky, and there, when we saw it, we went, "Oh my God, that's just fantastic!" At the time, it was great visual effects.
Oh, that was yeah. It was a very close encounters. Reminded me a lot of that. The TV theme song, written, I mean, sung by Joey Scarberry. It was amazing, written by Post. I mean, I know back in the day that was probably well, we just saw Dennis take a header into the brick wall.
Yeah.
He talked about that on the show. They thought they killed him. I know back in the day you must have heard that song a million times. Are you okay with it now? You
Oh
cool
yeah,
with it?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's
Okay.
funny. I had heard a few covers of that done too, which I thought was pretty good.
One of them, the Trificon, was played
Yeah.
as we were walking up. That's great. Glenn Nelson, yeah. That was a fun one too. We talked about Dennis Danger Madalone taking the header in the brick wall. He also told us we saw the shot there too, where he hits the brick wall and bounces off of it. He told us
Absolutely knocked himself out at the time. Yeah.
he knew they made it too strong, and
Yeah,
that
yeah,
reaction shot is brilliant.
yeah.
It's amazing. So, boy, there's just so much, and we go here. I mean, again, we'll talk about the chemistry between the three leads as we go through. I think
Okay.
we've got our director coming up here too. So my heroes have always been
My heroes
Cowboys.
have always been Cowboys. That's what I got.
Yes.
Guys running to the car. Yeah.
Yep.
Guest star Jack Ging.
He's great.
John
The great John
Hart.
Hart.
Oh, great guy. Yeah.
Oh, Culp.
There's a
Faye,
wonderful Bob
Faye Grant.
Culp.
Yep, and Faye Grant there. She's going to be at the end. Hopefully, we'll talk to her coming up on Comic Book Central.
Oh,
The
good. Yeah,
kids.
I just got word. Was that from you that you talked
Yeah.
to Faye too long ago?
Yep.
Great gal.
And
Jiminy
we've got.
Christmas. See
You
that
can
red
still
shit
fit.
on?
You can
It
still
looks
fit in the suit.
like as it felt on me back then.
You
It
can still
sagged in
fit in
all
the
the wrong
suit.
places. Oh,
Okay.
jeez.
Dennis mentioned this, written by the great Stephen J. Cannell. Dennis mentioned this that he would find trees. He would scout for more trees to sort of soften the blow because he knew he could take a header into a tree easier than
Yeah,
concrete. A lot of trees in this episode.
a lot of trees. Yeah, this is one of the first couple that we did, I believe.
Yeah. This was episode 6 coming in. I'm not sure production wise, but I think we've got our directed by credit coming up here too. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Do you remember who directed this episode? I'll ask you
Do-
that before it pops up.
I do not.
Okay. He
We had about
directed.
6 directors that directed these shows.
There's Dennis with the, with the wig. It's brilliant. I mean, he's just. I mean, the falls, and I love the cutaway to you then too. And I think you take it. Yeah, you. That may have been Dennis there, but directed by the great Arnold
That's
Lavin.
as I can see his run. Yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
Directed by Arnold Lavin. He was man started with or early on a Rifleman. He directed 7 episodes of The Greatest American Hero, Secrets of ISIS, $6 Million Man, Planet of the Apes. Come on.
Started as a script supervisor. That's where he got his start.
Do you remember getting some direction from him, like with all
Oh
the
yeah,
Hollywood
Arnold
histories?
Lavin was great because he was one of those guys that would never keep the camera in the same place. He would get one shot, two shot, and they go, "Can we do it again?" You know, we got it, and he'd move the camera about 2 feet to one way or the other, and that's great, isn't that great? That's the car going backwards.
That stunt is incredible. That's why I say this is a reel for Dennis because he did that, and then this is unbelievable. The catching of the bus.
Yeah,
I mean, talk a little bit about Dennis because and as you were watching this, this is Ralph realizes because of something he screwed up and because he doesn't control his powers correctly, he almost killed a busload of tourists. And that
right.
sets the stage for us. But talk a little bit about Dennis and do you recall your first meeting in the hallway where he said he was going to be your stunt double? What you said to him?
Yeah, I said no. Buddy Joe Hooker was my stunt double. Buddy Joe had been my stunt double on a couple films, most notably Butch and Sundance the Early Days that I did with Tom Berenger. And Buddy looked very much like me. We were a very good match. And anyway, I said, Dennis, no, Buddy Joe Hooker is my stunt double. And Dennis turned around, and I think he said, walking away, he said, not anymore.
That's exactly what he said. Not anymore, buddy. That was it. Because he looks so much like you.
Yeah, it's the nose, I think,
I
right?
think that's what it is. Yeah.
Maybe, and the color hair. You
I'm
know.
like surfer boy, blonde surfer boy and guy from Jersey. Yeah, this is. But I love that there because that spring. Talk a little bit about the cutaways and then you getting up because you actually
Well,
took some
what it
tumbles.
was that's it was Noel Standby. I mean, that was invented many years ago. It's called the Cowboy switch. So the stunt double falls into the barrel, or comes crashing through a wall, and then falls behind something, and then the star pops up. And that's what we incorporated that on these shows. That's how all these things worked. Dennis would do the bulk of it, the crashing, the hitting, and whatnot, and then I would pop up. I'd be stationed right behind something, and he would crash right beside me, and then I'd pop up. And so the illusion was created.
You guys had a great working relationship too. By the way, I am flying the colors today. This is from Dennis Madalone. This
Yeah,
shirt with I think it says on here our true hero Stephen J. Cannell. He had
yeah, yeah. I
touch
see.
on it.
I tell you, Dennis was is the true champion. He's the one that's kept this show in the hearts and minds of the public for all these years, 40 years. And he is just an amazing guy.
He said he'd suit up again and crash through some trees. You too? You do the cowboy roll again?
um, I don't know. No one's offered. I'm,
If they
I'm
did,
still in pretty good shape. I wouldn't mind. You know what? Because it's taken on its own life. It's different. I went through a period of time where I guess I resented it a little bit, but with the advent of the cons and everything, the last 7, 8, 10 years, I didn't realize how highly appreciated it was by the fans out there. A lot of people would say to me, "Hey, this was the one show, even though I didn't get along with my mom or my dad, it was the one show we could all watch together around the TV, and it was a real great family get together."
I've heard that from so many actors and actresses that in the moment you can't get out of it because it's the work days are incredible, and then later on you meet the fans and you realize how many lives you impacted. And
Mm.
that's the theme of this show. Like, there's a line that you say. Oh, do you remember your line in this, like about John Hart and the Lone Ranger?
No,
Do you remember Ralph's line? I grew up with
no.
that guy. I grew up
Oh,
with this
oh,
guy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Grew up with this guy.
people must know out there. My dad, Bill Williams, he was a Cowboy star. He did a series for about 5 years called Kit Carson that he did with Don Diamond, and it was about the time that Gene Autry had his show on the air. It was in the '50s, and so he was a Cowboy star. You know, so it meant a
Fantastic.
lot to me to do the show, and and Cannell knew that.
Jack Ging is playing Lieutenant Tracy Winslow. We see him here. Great scene. I mean, you're not in it, but it's a great scene between him and Culp. And just the angst on Culp's face in this scene when he realizes his hero, his idol is a criminal.
It's corrupt, yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't Cannell brilliant? He was just so brilliant. The way
Yeah.
he told me the way he conceived of these stories were, first and foremost, he would think of a funny idea, and then he would back a plot into that funny idea. And that's the way he worked with his whole writers roundtable. That's the way they worked.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about Culp here. Just in this scene, fun and games right here, and then he realizes he's deadly serious. He's going to pull off a heist. Talk a little bit about that, and then just your relationship working with him and personally.
Oh, for Cannell?
For Culp.
For Culp, Bob Culp. Bob Culp and I did not start off to be great friends. I mean, I think you see it in the pilot, most notably when we were in the boys' room, the men's room in the high school, when he came in to tell me who was going to be running the show. And then I said, no, I think you got that wrong. There was real tension on the set that day. And for the days leading up to that, Bob and I did not get along well, but, it worked very, very well because we took a lot of our real life angst and we brought it into the scene. So it was him, the actor Bob Culp, and me, the actor William Katt, really kind of running our colors up the mast and showing each other what was going to be taking place. And what happened is that 2 weeks into the shoot, I knocked on his trailer door and I said, "Hey, Mr. Culp," I said, we need to talk and arrive at some sort of detente because we've got a long way to go in the show should it get picked up. And I don't want to start this off being antagonistic toward one another. And we worked it out. And I tell you what, he became a great friend, a great mentor. He taught me all about how to write. Bob, first of all, people, I don't know, people may know this. Bob first thought of himself as a writer, then he thought of himself as a director, and then as an actor. That's the order that he saw himself as in his career. And he was that. He was a wonderful writer. He wrote several episodes and wrote several more that didn't get a chance to be made. But he was always working. We were always taking those scenes and reworking those scenes. Not so much changing the context of the scenes, but we would make it so it felt like it was coming out of the characters' mouths. And Cannell so wisely allowed us to do that. You know, Steve was brilliant that way, and Juanita Bartlett and Alex Beaton, they allowed us that flexibility. And that's kind of what made the show, why it made it so great for us. You
Isn't
know?
that a great lesson though for writers and producers now? Hire the best, then let them be the best.
Yeah. You know, well, Hitchcock always said casting is almost 80, 85% of the movie, you know, let cast it correctly and let the actors kind of take it.
I love the look on Culp's face in that scene. I love the look on your face because we're moving past wacky stunts and we're into some serious themes here, and that's what I love. We're going to talk about Connie Sellecca here
Oh,
because she's Connie Sellecca and she's the best. But I got to ask you, Brendan Williams is Kevin Hinkley. I think he only had 4 episodes.
I don't know what happened to the young man. They just, I guess the producers thought that it would be better if I was not a dad, you know?
Wouldn't that have, you would have been the greatest dad?
I know. I
You were
could have been
so
the greatest American dad, you know?
I don't understand what, but the brilliance of Candle though. So Kevin, Brandon is cool as Kevin in here. The brilliance of Candle though is it could have been easy to make Connie Selleck, Pam Davis, the Lois Lane role, and oh, I don't know, and I don't know who this superhero is. She's in on it from the beginning, and she's driving the bus on some of these stories.
She was great. A very, very, you know, Cannell took advantage of the fact that Connie's really smart.
Yeah,
Not only is she gorgeous to look at, but she is incredibly smart and wickedly funny.
yeah.
In real life, people don't know this, but Connie Sellecca was incredibly funny.
Didn't she at the time? I think you were telling me. Didn't she like used to like fake her death at home and like when she was married to
Yeah, when she
Gil?
was still married to Gil Gerard,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. She would be at the bottom of the stairs with blood all over her, spread out on the floor, and
She's nuts. I'm hoping to have her on the show at some point. Hoping to have her on the show. We saw a little one gaff. I want to make one trivia note there. When you hold the Lone Ranger picture up,
yeah.
Ralph has not gotten that Lone Ranger picture yet. He gets it when he meets John Hart. So that was a cutaway shot that they showed later. So there's your trivia for this episode. That, but other than that, we're all good.
Other than
Um,
that, it's all good.
Great scene, man. Jack Ging is Winslow here.
He was great.
He was in the $6 Million Man, the classic Kill Oscar episodes, and also High Plains Drifter. I think Hang 'em High with Clint Eastwood. There's a lot of Hollywood history in this episode.
Yeah. One of the great things I think that this show did, unlike some of the other shows that Cannell had on prior to this, there was a lot of fun and comedy, but there was a lot of heart. I mean, there was a lot of humanity in this show.
I think that's why it holds up today. I think that's why I can watch it today and
Oh,
talk
here's
about
the scene.
heart.
This is the scene where he actually meets John Hart.
Yep. Talk about having a lot of heart. We got a lot of John Hart in this.
There you go.
He does not do this stunt. That's not hard on the horse, though, right there.
No, that is Kim Burke.
Okay.
Burke was my stand-in, but he was also a for real cowboy and worked a lot. He was with me on Butch and Sundance the early days. He was my stand-in and was one of the wranglers on that shoot. And I brought him along to this, and he was with the show the whole time we ran. Did a lot of stunts. Anything with horses, he and Kim took care of.
Look at you and look at your face. Like were you? I know you're a good actor. You're a great actor. We know that. But like, were you? It's John Hart. It's Lone Ranger. Was there part of you, part of William Katt, that was like, I grew up on this guy. Like I know this guy.
Oh
What's
yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
okay? Because
It
that's
was.
almost you can't fake that. Look at Connie. She's like, I love that she loves you loving that.
Yeah. Well, Connie and I were really good friends. It was what you were talking about it before. It was the chemistry, Bob, Connie, and I. I mean, we got together in '08 when we were launching a comic book, and it was that same chemistry. We were sitting around the table when we first met, and Connie said, "Oh my God, do you feel that?" Because it was lightning in a bottle. It was that same chemistry.
Yeah, I love this scene. I so love this scene. The two of you look like you're in love.
Yeah, I did. Well, we liked each other. We were good friends. I was actually
That's
when she married John Tesh. She invited me. I was there at her wedding.
mm. You're
Lovely.
like a goofball. You're like a goofy kid in this, and she's loving that you're 14. I think you even said, I think I quoted you on one time that you said the Greatest American Hero like brings out the 14-year-old in all of us. And I think this episode epitomizes that. Like Ralph looks like he's 14. I think that's why he puts the suit back on again.
Yeah, I've got a little too much makeup on. That's all what I have to say
Oh,
about that.
was it? Where did you shoot that? Was that a shopping mall?
I think that was in Burbank somewhere,
Okay.
um, a mall out there. But we were on location every day. That whole shoot, we'd get sent maps the night before when we'd be home. By the time we got home, we had maps where we were going the next day, and we would have to drive anywhere up to an hour around LA. And we were only on set maybe one day a week.
Okay. Tough to do eating scenes when you're shooting because you have to gauge how much you're eating. Like you have to fake eat almost.
You have to fake eat, but you have to also remember how many times, when did you put it up to your mouth? When did you take it down in terms of editing? So the single, it had to match with so it was all that stuff.
That's a tough
Just
one.
a bag of tricks that actors learn.
Looked like it was hot that day. I'm guessing that's probably why they put more makeup on you than usual. Probably knocked the sun reflecting off. I'm guessing that's probably why because it looked like it was probably pretty hot that day.
I don't know. Gotta look at Connie. Doesn't she look pretty?
She
Fun.
like this. She
She
doesn't
looks
age.
the same now. She looks identical the same.
Isn't that crazy?
She hasn't aged a day.
No, that's wrong. That's just, I mean,
I know it's wrong.
all of us get older, especially in COVID.
Yeah,
Like we've really aged. in COVID. Like I said,
I know.
you could throw the jammies on right now, and I believe it. So I'm still you. You guys have good genes, that's for sure. John Hartman coming in here. How amazing was he? Played. He lost him in 2009. Radio comic strip hero Jack Armstrong in a 47 serial, 52 episodes of The Lone Ranger. So he was what was known as the other Lone Ranger. Obviously, Clayton Moore coming in.
Clayton Moore, I think, was better remembered
Yes,
by
more
yeah.
episodes, but there was a pay dispute. So Hart came in for a season. A season back then was 52 episodes. Can you
Jeez.
imagine doing 52 episodes a season? You did 44 in 3 seasons.
Yeah, wow.
And also he played the Lone Ranger here. He played the Lone Ranger in an episode of Happy Days the following year. And another trivia note, in The Legend of the Lone Ranger with Clinton Spilsbury, he played a newspaper editor. So John Hart came in for that one too. Did they try to, what was the deal? Was that the whole controversy at that time over Clayton Moore and he couldn't wear the mask, he had to do the shades and they were suing him and
I believe the story goes that they tried to get him and then it didn't happen.
hmm. John Hart, a great addition in this episode. Oh man, look at that.
Wow.
I love how all this plays out too, because that's where they're discussing that they need to take Maxwell out, and he doesn't want to do it because that's his friend. Another great scene. Robert Culp and a kid. It just doesn't.
I love when Bob does that. His neck comes forward and
Uh-huh.
his jaw arches.
Was it the cadence too? Like Ralph, come on now. It was almost like this staccato words that shouldn't have fit together. Somehow he made them.
Nobody spoke like Robert Culp. Nobody
No.
spoke like
And nobody, I think, ever before or since has used garbanzos.
that. I don't think so. I mean, and that was the fishing hat that he used to wear with
Yeah.
the hooks and stuff in it. and eating a box of dog biscuits and
Dog
whatnot.
biscuits.
That was all Bob's idea.
The shirt, "Happiness is a warm pistolero," or pistola, and they added the A because he wanted pistol. Did Cannell encourage you guys to improv a lot? You mentioned by tweaking some scripts to fit
We
your
did.
characters.
Did he encourage it? No, he let us do that. It kind of evolved, you know.
Okay,
I can't say anything was done intentionally, and it certainly wasn't done to mess up the writers or the producers.
right.
But I think as long as it was working, he had the wherewithal to say, "Hey, it's working. Let's let him run with it until it gets out of control, and then we'll say something." But he might have, thinking back, he might have said something here or there. Hey guys, put a lid on it. Don't cross the line too many times.
Do you recall anything in this episode that you found in the moment on set as you were going through, even with Hart or Culp or Sellecca?
I can't remember. I just remember the episode meant a lot to me because of my dad. My dad's history as a cowboy Western hero.
Yeah.
You know, the days. Just thinking back on it, the days that we were shooting this stuff. We were doing 22 episodes a season, which and it was a 7-day shoot. So typically you'd shoot Monday through the next following Tuesday a week, and then Tuesday night you get the new script and you start a new show on Wednesday, and that's the way it went. And I just remember it was you know easily 12. A short day was 12 and a half hours. Mostly it was 14 to 16 hours a day. It was exhausting.
How much of that week were you on wires against a green or a blue screen? Probably blue screen at the time.
Yeah, I think they went. It was only about once a month. Connie and Bob would get off, and I would go for the day, and Dennis Madalone would be there, and they'd shoot. They'd have a list of all the scenes that they needed the visual effects for, and then I would do everything for several shows at the same time.
You'd knock it all out in one day. You didn't have to keep
Knock
like
it all out in one day.
yeah.
In the beginning, we shot on a big giant blue screen, and they hung me from wires. And then by season 2, the new technology and computers came in, so they switched to green screen, and they would have me on a green platform, and the camera would move around me, and I wouldn't have to move.
Did they? I know because as you go, the Ralph can't fly. That joke's going to get played at some point. So there's the introduction of like the invisibility, this like all the different powers that he'd have to get used to. Did you notice a progression as the seasons went on that Ralph got better at flying, but then still screwed up other things? Like they had to introduce it. Like was that talked about? Like okay,
Yeah,
three years in, he should know how to fly by now.
yeah, I think it got better, but it was a one trick pony, and they had to come up with something new. I'm remiss that they never tried. I really, really wanted them to think about, and we alluded to it in our short-lived comic book. We only did 3 episodes, 3 books, but I wanted them to use that belt buckle,
Hmm.
that had the hero insignia on it, the middle. I wanted them to use that as kind of a Chinese puzzle, and would come apart and maybe open up to another world, a portal to another time or place. But they never got around to it. I know they were thinking about it.
I love that comic book series. Like I said, it only lasted 3 issues. I got them, but and signed by the great William Katt himself. It's pretty cool.
I wanted the last one signed by the former President Obama because
Oh,
he was
that's
on
right.
the cover with Ralph
Did you ever
Hinkley.
meet
I
him?
never got him to sign it.
Did you meet him?
No, I never did.
Okay,
Never did.
well, you still can. He's probably got
I
some time.
probably have more of a chance now that he's a private citizen.
Yeah, he's
You
got some
know.
time on his hands. We're all locked. We're all locked down. I bet he'd take your call.
I, I don't think so. I don't think
You know
so.
what? I'm going to put a nickel on that one. I think he would. I bet you if he got a call from William Katt asking about the Christmas, I bet you'd take it. But we'll see. We'll have you back on the show and get it. Okay, great shootout scene. We know Ralph has put the jammies away. He doesn't. He almost killed people. He doesn't want it. I love with your members only jacket. Was that a members only jacket? That had to be, right?
It was, and that was Dennis doing that stunt there, driving the car away. That was Dennis Madalone. He did all the stunts.
Everything.
If you look closely at these episodes, you can see Dennis everywhere.
Yeah. Well, he's a reel. He's like a 5 minute pitch reel on his website too that shows, and even the one because I always wondered the car's coming at you and it vaults over on a ramp, and I'm like, you
Right.
didn't. He's like, no, it was a dummy. We put Cat there, and then we did a dummy. But I'm driving the car, and I'm like, oh, that's even worse. These flying scenes, I thought were some of the most solid. That's a great one there.
He's actually going very slow. He's not flying as fast as a superhero. He's
oh,
flying maybe 30 miles an hour. That's
but I also
funny. He
love
picks up.
the mix of practical effects. That's Dennis there because you see his roots, and then cut to you. Um, but I love the mix of practical where they've got him strapped to something. Was he strapped to a gimbal or something, or like driving down the shots where it's like him real, and you see the cape blowing at the camera from behind?
That was, yeah, no, he wasn't on a gimbal.
What was he like? What was he on? Like he's strapped to a hood of a car or something? Like what was he?
They were probably just blowing wind at him, and the camera was over his back. And that
All
was a
right,
composite shot. It was compositing the car going down the street,
all right.
uh, him in the foreground.
All right,
We
that
did
one looked like he, because I know back on Shazam, Jackson Bostwick, they used to strap him to a bus, and they'd drive a
yeah.
bus down the thing and have a camera behind him, and it's like they'd show him from waist forward.
We did that on a helicopter. I got to hold onto a helicopter strut, and we did that once.
Okay,
You
Dennis
know,
mentioned this. I wanted to ask you about that. You reminded me of that. Dennis said, because I asked him like, did Cat like what was Cat like? Did he do stuff? Did he want to do stuff? He goes, you know what? He goes, he was great at falling. He did a great lot of. He jumped on a helicopter often that was only supposed to go 10 feet in the air, but it didn't.
no, it went really high in the air,
100 feet,
and
he said.
yeah, it
You
was
were
great. I've done
100
a lot.
feet up on a helicopter.
Pardon me?
You were 100 feet up on a helicopter.
Hanging onto the strut. Yeah,
Yeah, you're
that
nuts.
was fun.
You're nuts.
Hey,
Well, but
listen, yeah, Tom Cruise was on the side of an airplane that took off. Okay.
he's doing that
Wait,
now. You did it back in the day.
yeah, yeah, he wins. He wins.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Um, I mean, I think Linda Carter did that. I think the stunt people or somebody they weren't watching, and she wanted to do one and grabbed on, and they said the same thing. The helicopter. What was up with the helicopter pilots back then? Were they having fun with the actors? Like, hey, let's take them up 100 feet.
Oh yeah. I don't know. He was the same guy that worked on our show all the time, so I
Yeah.
knew him. I remiss I don't remember his name, but he was terrific. I used to get rides from him to go one place to another, and it
Okay.
was a lot of fun. It was a
Were you
lot of fun. I love.
tethered? Was there a safety? Like, were you tethered?
Oh
What
yeah, yeah.
part?
They always tether you. Yes, of course.
All right. Well, I don't know. Like, I hear these things, and like back in the day, like stuff slipped through. So I don't like old timey Hollywood. Like Harold Lloyd had a house drop on his head. I'm sure there was no safety measures there.
There you go.
So I never know.
There
Like they
was
say,
there was a couple times, we did some stuff like that.
did you ever get hurt?
No, I never did. Not in Hero. I didn't. I did not.
Did you ever get
I
hurt
was doing.
ever?
I did get hurt a few times. White Ghost. I was doing a film in South Africa, and I did a backflip off a jeep, and I almost broke my hip. Was in the hospital. Caused the production to go down for a week, and it was a friend of mine producing, and I cost him some money, and I never did a big stunt like that again. If you
Okay.
watch House, when you watch the film House that I did with George Wendt, I did that stair fall. That's me doing that stair fall.
How? Oh, wow. Okay. That's again crazy. Why would you do that? You had a stunt person.
I wanted to.
Young.
That was,
You were young and crazy.
yeah, there you go.
Okay, another great scene with John Hart coming up here. I think there's a line. Well, we saw Maxwell's apartment there, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's, I
It's
guess, if you,
interesting how how Cannell took the hero worship that I have with Hart, and then he juxtaposed it with the hero worship that Culp had with his former boss.
that's what I love about this episode because it's playing on multiple levels. And I think if you rewind it and probably pause, there's probably so many different things on Maxwell's walls, little Easter eggs that they'll probably reveal a lot about his character. I don't even know. There's a lot going on there. Let's just say he's very conservative. Is that fair
Yeah,
to say that the character of Bill
very.
Maxwell
That's fair to
was
say.
Culp? Was Culp?
We never really talked politics, but Bob was more conservative, certainly than me.
Okay.
Whereas I lean more liberal. Bob was more conservative.
That played to the characters. There's a great line here by John Hardy mentions, in the cold light, justice and morality always look corny. He goes on to say our society needs heroes. Um, yeah, I think it's easy to see some of these things too, right? And think, yeah, superheroes and jammies, especially 1981. Come on, different world
Yeah,
back then. It did seem corny. It did seem Adam Westy. It did seem, pow, biff, bam. And for an actor, that had to be like, yeah, I don't know. This might be, I don't know about this. Like now, everybody wants a superhero franchise. Everybody's got to have a
I was
superhero
going.
franchise.
Everybody wants the big circus tentpole
Right.
superhero franchise.
Yeah.
Everybody wants. But back then, when I was doing it, when Adam West and I followed years after that, it was kind of thought of as not a great career move. You know, I was very lucky to do Pippin in and around this time, and that kind of saved me because I really had a good theater career at the time, and I think that saved me. But yeah, it wasn't thought of to be a great career move.
But you laid the groundwork for what we're seeing today.
Could be,
No,
you
is.
know.
No, look, I'll put myself as the authority on this because I have Comic Book Central. So I've watched my fair share of these. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
as the authority on this, you did lay the groundwork for this. And I think even this episode, like just even that script by Cannell, where you're like, hey, this might be corny, but like, did that even resonate with you when you were filming this episode? That look, maybe there is, yeah, this is why Ralph does what Ralph does.
Well, my hat's off to Steve in his creation of the show because as corny as it might have been, we always played the truth of the moment. For me, it was always a real guy in an absurd situation. That's the way I played it.
Yeah.
And that's the way Bob played it, Robert, and that's the way Connie played it. So we're all playing the truth of it. And I think that maybe took the onus off of
Look at the bazooka up on his wall.
it.
He's got a bazooka. Do you remember any of this? Do you remember the
No, I
apartment?
don't. I
He's got the
don't.
giant American flag. He's got look. You're like that's your background, right? Um,
Oh, yeah.
look, all the FBI wanted behind him, right? He's got
Wow.
he's got like no
Oh,
pants on. He's got a bazooka. Okay, so first part of the episode, deadly serious, and I think that set the tone, and I think that's why this episode resonates. Now, full on comedy, because now you're dropping your pants.
yep.
Now we get the pants dropping joke. There's another one coming up. I won't spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but it's one of my favorite jokes in the series. Um, and we got to go do this. The whole episode, he's been going, come on, Ralph, you get the jammies. Come on, stop, counselor, would you do this? And you're like, no, I'm putting this away. I'm not doing this. I almost kill people. Now we flipped it, brilliant by Cannell, and you're putting the jammies on, and you got to talk Culp off the ledge here.
Oh, funny.
This is
Funny.
just, and yeah, this may be one of my favorite scenes of the three of you. It just you three in a room, I could probably watch on a loop till the end of time. It's just three
Oh,
actors, three amazing actors in a room relating to each other on very different levels.
wow.
Look at your enthusiasm. That's like you can't fake that. I know you thought at the time, look at your pants are down.
Ha!
You dropped your pants, right? Who was that? Cannell?
Yeah,
All right. I didn't know if maybe you like. Let me drop my pants here.
that's funny as hell.
Pants dropping never not funny.
Yeah, that's always funny.
Yeah.
It
Watch
works.
Connie's reaction.
Works then, it works today. Will Ferrell can do it. Seth Rogen, all those guys. Everyone's done it.
You got yours. You got yours, and now Culp is back in action. This This team, you guys should have had more than 44 episodes. Why didn't it go beyond 44? You guys
I don't
or
know.
network?
I think that there was some animus between Culp and Cannell and the network. Everyone wanted different things.
Okay.
And, eventually they put us on Friday night against Dallas, which was the #1 show on TV at
Oh,
the
killer.
time. And we knew we were toast.
Yeah. Here's the good joke here too. Look at you. And then here's the joke. I feel like a flasher in
Oh,
this thing. Was that you or Cannell? Come on. I mean, it's all Cannell. Feel like a flasher in this
oh
thing.
no, there was a lot of stuff that we improv. I don't remember who did
That tongue
what,
thing. Yeah, that tongue thing had to be you.
but we had a lot of fun.
Great flying scenes. Again, the effects.
Oh, look at
The
Dennis,
effect.
man. Dennis hits that thing up on the
Yeah.
roof.
He there early in the episode too, and I talked about this. He always said I got to get trees so I can crash into them. But there's one where he takes a full branch in the face, and when he lands, it looks like that one had an impact. But he always said, just I always walked away. Everybody goes home safe.
Yeah. Dennis was always very good about keeping everybody safe.
Amazing.
Always.
Yeah. Look how much he did on Star Trek. I mean, it was like he did a full burn on Star Trek. He did. He was stunt coordinating 3 shows simultaneously. All the Star Trek series. It's like this guy's
He's,
energy level. And he said today he's still doing it. He's still doing the falls.
he is. He is. I've never seen anybody hit a wall or hit the ground as hard as Dennis Madalone.
His phrase was, "I like to eat concrete."
Yeah. Yeah.
You do not like to eat concrete.
No, I like to eat cake. You know, that's about it for me.
You still keep in touch with Connie?
Um, Connie's very private. We text on birthdays and stuff, and
Okay.
periodically she'll send me new pictures of her grandkids. And
There's no way Connie Selleck is a grandma.
I know, isn't that amazing? And she doesn't look a day older than she does here in the shows.
No. I
I saw
love that you guys
her
keep it
two
together.
years ago. I saw her once for lunch, and she hasn't changed.
Now Madalone said he's out in LA and he wears a purple scarf. I think like an identifiable purple scarf he has. And
Yeah,
Connie will come to a screeching halt in the car and beep at him and yell out Dennis at him. I'm like, I love that you guys. That's the crazy thing is like you guys keep in touch, and
yeah.
it's just like we won a TV movie of the week. I think of this. I think we just won a GAH reunion, but and you get Joseph Culp in as the kid as Bill's
Well,
son.
I had an idea when I wrote that pilot that we kept. We went to an insane asylum. Nowadays, we could have Bob Culp in a box. We could have his head in a box talking, right, and carry his head around. That would be my idea. Get
Virtual
someone to
Culp.
virtual Culp.
I love it. His kid has the cadence, man.
He does.
His
Looks
kid
very.
has that cadence.
Yeah.
He looks dead on. But see that right there, like that. Dennis is strapped to a hood or something there.
Must be. He must be. And that was him because that was the wig. You could see that it was the wig.
It's the Harpo Marx wig.
Yeah.
He's got a cover. People again, if you see the picture, go to Comic Book Central. But Dennis has really, really long black hair, and he
Yeah.
shoved all. I said, "Dude, why didn't you cut your hair?" He goes, "Dude, wigs. What do I care?" Like, I'm like, all right, but he's got so much of that black hair shoved up there, and it's funny because when you pause it, because now we can pause it. We couldn't back in the day. Who cared? It was low res and it was on a black and white TV half the time or whatever. But you pause it now and it's like, oh, that's Dennis Madalone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Filming in a residential area because another. That's insane. He just he takes out so many things. Talk about filming in a residential area. Where did you film all this? Did you have to rent houses? Look,
We rented a house somewhere in the valley, San Fernando Valley. I think it was Studio City somewhere. Was the exterior of the Hinkley house, and they built a set of the interiors. In Culver City, Steve had built out some warehouses to stand in as studios, sets, and but every day, like I said, prior to this that we were on location practically every day. We
Wow.
never knew where we were going to be tomorrow.
You actors love to shoot on location, yes?
Yes,
Okay.
I prefer it. You know,
I haven't talked to one that hasn't, so that you fall right in with that. Why?
well, because the milieu, I mean, the environment is very conducive. It lends itself to the scene, to a sense of reality. You know.
You'd do a Western again, wouldn't you?
Oh, hell yes.
Have you
Every
seen
actor I know would do nothing but westerns for the rest of their life.
the News of the World?
No, I haven't had a chance. Is it good?
Stream it.
I'm
Um,
a big Hanks fan. Love Tom.
well, if you're a big Hanks fan, if you're a big Western fan, go for it. I wish it weren't COVID era because I think that thing would have done gangbusters at the box office. I think COVID didn't help it. I think COVID didn't help the Western any. It's really good.
Good.
Yeah, I'd love to see you in a Western.
Yeah, I did 4 or 5 of them, maybe 6 of them in my career. I love doing them.
Pick a genre. I'm giving you a genre. I'm a Hollywood producer. I'm a big shot Hollywood producer, and I'm calling William Katt's agent, and I'm like, we got this project for him, and we want him as a lead or a guest role, whatever. I don't care. Pick a genre. Which like you choose.
No doubt, Western.
All right.
West. Yeah, it'd be fun.
But that's telling me a lot about this episode. That's telling me so much about this
I,
episode. There's okay. You did take a dive there.
I did. I did.
Yeah.
For me, my favorite thing to do is to play left to center and be kind of wacky, eccentric. That's what I like to do.
You'd like to do a comedy western, like would you want to do a full-on serious western? Or you want to do like a Blazing Saddles?
Not a Blazing Saddles. I mean, like I said, I like to play a real guy in an absurd situation.
Oh, like a
So
Firefly, like maybe like a Firefly with
yeah,
Nathan Fillion.
yeah, that's a good analogy.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they're going to be doing probably another Firefly. I think I heard rumors coming up. Why don't you get in on that? You know
Uh,
Fillion.
huh?
Fillion was going to be the greatest American hero at one point.
That's what I heard.
Yeah,
I met him several times because Dennis was doing his show,
yeah.
uh, and so I met him a
Castle.
few times and went to visit.
Cannell did
And
his show. Cannell played poker with him.
that's correct.
You got
That's
him on
correct.
speed dial, right? You got Fillion on speed dial?
I do not. I haven't talked to him in years.
All right. I want you
I'm
to
sure he'd
try.
take my call if I wanted to. Wait, is he producing it?
I have no idea. I just heard a rumor that they're doing it again, but look at this. How many times did you have to run around? How long did that scene take?
Oh, geez, I can't remember.
All right.
Probably, given how fast we had to move, probably only took an hour to shoot that one
Okay,
scene.
you were flying by the seat of your pants. I love this scene here because not only do we get to see Culp squaring off, but there's a shot where you sneak into the back, and Ralph could take care of this in 2 seconds with his superpowers, but he doesn't. There you are. Because
That's great script writing. That's good Cannell writing.
yeah, but you and Culp sell it. You can write it, but you can't sell it. You sell. Look at your reaction because you're at the ready, hands on hips. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. You're at the ready. You're this guy's not getting away no matter what.
Right.
But you're not making a move, and I think you sell it with that. And Culp
Right.
knows you're not going to move,
Yeah.
and then he takes him out, and he
Yeah.
realizes his hero is a paper hero.
Yeah.
Um,
They might have missed a close up between Bob and I seeing each other and having that look in our eyes.
oh, that's a great move. That would have been a great,
They probably didn't have time to shoot those close ups.
yeah, almost like an acknowledgement between the two, like I got this, but if you
Yeah.
don't have this, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Could have been.
that's a good
And this
move.
could have been, I want to give credit where credit is due. Bob was very sharp. So that might have been his whole idea.
Okay. Oh, that look right there, man. You and Culp sell this, man. It's like you said, it's the outlandish, it's the crazy, But you, Culp, and Sellecca sell this so hard.
Thank God we get back to the school. There's Mike Pere, and
The kids. Did you ever drive the bus? Like for real?
I might have driven it in that just to pull it up,
Yeah.
And Faye, oh my gosh, haven't seen Faye in so long. And
Stunning.
Michael, I saw Michael about 4 or 5 years ago. Don't know the other guys, the other cats here in the scene.
Yeah, Faye Grant, Michael Pere, Jesse
Yeah,
Goins, and Don Cervantes, they're out there. Hopefully they'll
those
be on Comic Book Central here very soon. We're going to catch up with all of them.
good.
Um,
They
yeah,
really,
you got,
they really lended a whole. They grounded the show in reality. You know.
well, because Ralph has a day job. This thing's pulling him away from his day job to change these kids' lives. And I think that's what we see in the scene here, too, is they're going, why are we here? Why are we here, Mr. H? Like, and then all of a sudden they come away with something that, you know what? Maybe this isn't so corny. Maybe we do need heroes. Maybe we do. Maybe we do need heroes. Faye was always like, man, she was like on Mr. H's side all the time.
Yeah, she was good.
She's
She was
amazing.
good.
And you get to say the line again too, like, I grew up on this guy. Like, you say it all through the episode. And I maybe that's why
Yeah,
this episode resonates. He's like, I don't know. I grew up on this guy. That's it. And I
yeah.
and I think that's why this episode resonates and why this means so much to me and why it means so much to people watching this is that we grew up with this guy. We grew up with this guy.
Oh, thanks, Joe. That's very sweet of you.
But I mean, but I'm not kidding. Like I look at this, I see, I got a picture of you, you signed it, and I look at that and I remember like I grew up on this guy. Like this guy, I mentioned Shazam, The Secrets of Isis, all these different things, the Filmation productions. They always had those little morals at the end that taught us stuff.
Yeah.
And I think Greatest American Hero, I think I was 14 at the time, you mentioned 14-year-old kid, um, that these shows taught us something. Like, don't be a jerk, do the right thing,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter if it's corny. Just do the right thing. And I think you're probably getting that now. Yeah, John Hardy says, Kemosabe. Full circle for you, Kemosabe. I mean, you mentioned going to these conventions. You probably get that all the time, right? Like people tell you, like, I grew up with you and you taught me that. And like, what do you
Yeah.
get from fans at conventions?
I get more out of it than they do. I guarantee it.
Hmm.
I mean, it really, really fills me up. My heart has grown bigger over the course of the last 10 years with these conventions. The fans are just so wonderful. Good people out there, really good people.
Passionate fan base. They want Greatest American Hero back. I love this shot, this closing shot where the heroes are going off in different directions.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. You're right. That's fantastic.
That's a brilliant shot. Yeah, we got the credits, man. That was fun. That
That
was
was
fun,
fun.
Joe.
I had a blast. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. I mean, not only thank you for this, but like thank you for these episodes because I think, like I said, with the actors I talk to, when they're in the middle of it, they're just concerned about getting the gig done, getting through a 16-hour day, and now, like you said, meeting fans at conventions and realizing that what you did impacted people. It
Mhm.
brought families together. It changed lives. It made people look at heroes differently, and I think this is that one of those episodes that does that. Yeah, we do need heroes. I think even more now than ever before. Um, Cannell, Culp, they're missed, but we still have visuals of you dropping your pants and having fun with these cats. Um, Man, William Katt, I'm telling you what, thank you so much. There's the great Stephen J. Cannell right there. All of his shows are out there for us to look at. Thank you so much for doing this. Happy
Hey,
40th anniversary.
thank you, Joe. I feel so lucky that you asked me. Thank you, and my best wishes go out to all of your fans out there, and my fans, and people that are here watching with us today. God bless. Stay healthy and safe. Okay.
Let's get through COVID. Let's stay safe. Let's get back to conventions. We'll meet again in person and we can talk about these episodes. I'm looking forward to moderating your next Q&A. That's what I'm going to be doing at Terrificon whenever that happens.
Okay, Dave.
Thank you, brother.
Bye.
Stay safe.